Харе Кришна. Om Agyanati Mirandasya Ginanganashalakaya Chakshurumilitaminata Smaishi Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobisam Stapitamenda Putale Swarupakadama Hyam Dati Swapadati Вандехам Шигуру Шутпадакам Лам Шигурун Вишнивам Чаширум Саграждам Сагна Рагунатан Витам Там Садживам Садвайтам Савадутам Париджина Хитам Кришна Чайтanya Девам Ширада Кришна Падан Сагана Лолита Шивишакан Витам Ча Е Кришна Каруна Синду Дина Банду Джагатпате Гопеша Гопика Канта Рада Канта Намостуте Тапта Канчана Горанге Раде Вриндаванешвари Vrishapanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. I will continue today to read from chapter 8 of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, translation and purports from His Divine Grace Abhai Naravrinda Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paskatya Dashatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Jaya Gopi Jana Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Yashodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jaya Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. So I was at well, I must see where I was. I must see where I was in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Let us see just a moment. Madhya Lila 8:25. Tekiya Brahmana Kalanera Chamatkara Vaidika Brahmana Sava Karena Vachara Karena Vachara. Translation: when the stereotyped ritualistic Brahmanas who were following the Vedic principles saw this ecstatic manifestation of love, they were struck with wonder. All these Brahmanas began to reflect as follows. Next verse, Madhya Lila 8:26. Sannyasira teja deki Brahma Sama Shudre Alingiya Kena Karena Grandana. Translation: the Brahmanas thought, we can see that this sannyasi has a luster like the effulgence of Brahman. But how is it that he is crying upon embracing a Shudra, a member of the fourth caste in the social order? Next verse, Madhya Lila 8:27. Hey Maharaja Mahapandita Gambira Sanyasira Sparshimata Ilasti. Translation: they thought, this Ramananda Raya is the governor of Madras, a highly learned and grave person, a Mahapandit. But upon touching this sannyasi, he has become restless like a madman. Next verse, Madhya Lila 8:28. Ei mata vipragana pavimane manda vijatya lokadeki prabhu kaila
samvarana.
Translation. While the Brahmanas were thinking in this way about the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Raya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw those outsiders and restrained his transcendental emotions. Purport, purports and translation are from His Divine Grace Abhai Ravrinda Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Purport. Ramananda Raya was intimately related to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, he can be accepted as a Sajatya, a person within the intimate circle of the Lord. The Brahmanas, however, were followers of the Vedic rituals and were not able to have an intimate connection with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Consequently, they are called Vijatya Loka. In other words, they were not pure devotees. One may be a highly learned Brahmana, but if he is not a pure devotee, he is a Vijatya, an outcast, outside, one outside devotional service. In other words, a non-devotee. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Raya were embracing in ecstasy, the Lord restrained his transcendental emotions upon seeing the outsider Brahmanas. Next verse, Madhya 8:29.
Shustrahanatu he Sesthanete vasila Tabe Siva Prabhu Kahite Lagila.
Translation. When they regained their sanity, they both sat down, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled and began to speak as follows. Next verse, Madhya 8:30.
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya Kahila Tumhara Gun Tomare Milite More Karila Yatande.
Translation. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya spoke of your good qualities, and he made a great endeavor to convince me to meet you. Next verse, Madhya 8:31.
Tomamili bare morita gamana balanalaya pailo darashana.
Translation. Indeed, I have come here just to meet you. It is very good that even without making an effort, I have gotten your interview here. Next verse, Madhya 8:32.
Rachaka hai sarvabhauma Hide Hayasavadana.
Translation. Ramananda Raya replied, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya thinks of me as his servant. Even in my absence, he is very careful to do me good. To do good to me. Okay. Matilula 833, the next one.
Tandra Kripaya Payinu Tamara Darasana Ajisafala More Manosya Janama.
Translation. By his mercy, I have received your interview here. Consequently, I consider that today I have become a successful human being. Next verse, Madhulila 8:34.
Sarvabhaume Tomara Kripa Taruchi Asprisya Spashila Hanatanra Primalina.
Translation. I can see that you have bestowed special mercy upon Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Therefore, you have touched me, although I am untouchable. This is due only to his love for you. So, this is speaking Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, maybe. Okay. The next verse. Next verse, Madhulila 8:36.
Mora Sparshina Karila Karina Veda Havaya Mora Darshana Toma Vede Nisheda.
Translation. You do not fear the Vedic injunctions stating that you should not associate with a Shudra. You were not contemptuous of my touch, although in the Vedas you are forbidden to associate with the Shudras. Okay, let us see the purport. The translations and purports are, as I said many times already, from His Divine Grace by Charnaravrinda Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Purport. In the Bhagavad Gita 9:32, the Lord says,
Mam hi parthavyapashrita yepesyu papayana Sriyo vaishastata shudras tepiyanti parangati.
Now there will be something about the women again. Okay, let us see. Yes, this verse is. We had to learn this verse in Bhakti Shastri course. Translation. O son of Prita, O son of Prita, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women. Women are of lower birth. this this is maybe some mistake in the translation. I will come to that later. So, Vaishya's merchants as well as Shudra's workers can attain the supreme destination. So let us see again. Um, Strio, they want to say that this is women. Maybe it is something else here. Something else is meant, maybe. Because women or men or are human, all are human beings. Whatever they want to say that the women are lower than the men, this is just not true, sorry. So dystria, maybe it does not mean exactly women, it means something else. Okay, let us see what is going on further in this purport from Srila Prabhupada. Let's see. So if Prabhupada have said it in this way, this is another question. Okay, let us continue with reading this purport now. Let's see. The word Papa Yonayaha means born into a lower class. According to the Vedic system of classification, women, Vaishyas, and Shudras belong to a lower social order. Ah, yeah? So there is something mistaken here. The meaning is something else, not exactly what is said. That the women are a lower class. Something is wrong in that classification. But as we all know, in the system which exists now, actually we all are all put in without somebody to ask us. Without being asked, we are put in the Shudra position, all of us. Women, men, everybody. We are just put there in a Shudra position. So no any other classification for us. We are all Shudras. We are put in this position without asking, without being asked. We are put in the positions of Shudra. If you like it or not, it is done in this way. Uh, so somebody can maybe um, think and and develop some theories on these classifications and think themselves as higher than Shudras. They can do this, yes, but in this world we are born and we are put in a system without being asked. And in this system, we are put in Shudra position without being asked. It's already done. So our theories on classification are just theoretical thing and not what is really happening. But let us see what is written further in this purport. A low life means a life without Krishna consciousness. High and low positions in society are calculated by considering a person's Krishna consciousness. A Brahmana is considered to be on the highest platform because he knows Brahman, the absolute truth. The second caste, the Kshatriya, also know Brahman, but not as well as the Brahmanas. The Vaishyas and Shudras do not clearly understand God consciousness, but if they take to Krishna consciousness by the mercy of Krishna and the spiritual master, they do not remain in the lower castes. Papa Yuna Yaha. It is clearly stated Tepi Yanti Param Gatim. Okay, let us see further what is said in that purport. So, unless one has attained the highest standard of life, one cannot return home back to Godhead. One may be a Shudra, Vaishya, or woman. Why they're always mixing the women with that? I don't understand. This is really ridiculous. Just leave the women in peace. Leave the women in peace. Why you're always mixing the women in this philosophy here? And when they're mixing the women, they're always putting the women in the lowest position. Very interesting. This is just stupid and funny. So, one may be and so on, Shudra. But if one is situated in the service of the Lord, in Krishna consciousness, one should not be considered um, Stri, Shudra, Vaishya, or lower than Shudra. Though a person may be from a low-born family, but if he is engaged in the Lord's service, he should never be considered to belong to a low-born family. The Padma Purana forbids Vakshate Jati Samanyat Sayati Narakam Dhruva. A person goes to hell quickly when he considers a devotee of the Lord in terms of birth. So you see, actually, one does not have the rights to consider uh, somebody who is a devotee in this system. Actually, this is clear here, clearly said. Srila Prabhupada says, if somebody is in the service of the Lord, if somebody is devotee, if somebody serves the Lord, then um, then this person cannot be put in the system without being asked. This is clearly said here from Prabhupada. So let us see further what is said here. Although Sri Ramananda Raya supposedly took birth in a Shudra family, he is not to be considered a Shudra, for he was a great advanced devotee. Indeed, he was on the transcendental platform. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore embraces him. Out of spiritual humility, Sri Ramananda Raya presented himself as a Shudra, Rajasevi Vishai Dradama. Even though one may engage in government service or in any other pounds, shillings, pence business, in short, in materialistic life, he need only take to Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is a very simple process. One need only chant the holy names of the Lord and strictly follow the principles forbidding sinful activity. In this way, one can no longer be considered an untouchable Vishai or Shudra. One who is advanced in spiritual life should not associate with the non-devotees, namely men in government service and men engaged in materialistic activity for sense gratification or in the service of others. Such men are considered by Vishai materialistic. So, of course, it is not easy to say who is actually non-devotee. Actually, one have to see all the others as devotees. And one should not think, oh, I'm a devotee, so I'm higher than the others, and the others, they're actually not devotees and actually don't have to associate with them. This is a great mistake. A devotee have to be humble, and a devotee have to see everybody everybody else as a devotee. This is in this way. This is the way how actually a pure devotee thinks. Of course, to be a pure devotee, this is a very high position. Of course, it's not easy to become a pure devotee, but the pure devotee is thinking exactly this way. The pure devotee actually sees everybody else as a better devotee as himself or herself, and a pure devotee is very humble. He or she thinks that he or she is more lower than everybody else. This is the way how a pure devotee thinks. Of course, a pure devotee is a very high level. Of course. So let's see what is said further here. Okay. So it is said, and some verse is here. Is citated. Oh, sorry.
Нескінченася бажана мукася парам парам джигамisa Parvasagarasya Sandarshana Vishayana Atayoshitancha Hanta Hanta Vishavakshana Topiya Sadhu.
Somebody about a sadhu, who is not a sattva, who is not a devotee. Okay, let's see what he said. A person who is very seriously engaged in cultivating devotional service with a view to crossing the ocean of nescience and who has completely abandoned all material activities should never see a Shudra, a Vaishya, or a woman. Again, about the women, I don't understand why the women are also cited in such a way that this is the most lowest living entity at all, a woman. No, my dear ones. Actually, the women are more developed than the men, mentally and physically and in any way. Actually, the highest devotee, more high than everybody else, is Shrimati Radhika, and this is a woman. Why they always forget this? I don't understand. These people who citate this in this way, they always forget that the highest person is a woman. This is Srimati Radhika. This is the highest devotee, the high level devotee, the highest level devotee than every other devotee. And this is a woman, Srimati Radhika. This is said and explained in verse 10 of Sri Upadeshamrita of Srila Rupa Goswami. Open again Sri Upadeshamrita of Srila Rupa Goswami. Read verse 10 and the translation of verse 10. And you will understand that this is actually the fact. The highest devotee is a woman, and this is Srimati Radhika. So let's see the next verse. Okay, Mother Lila, awesome. 8:37.
Tomara kripaya Tomara karaya Nindaya karma Sakshitishvara tume Kejana Tomara
Marma. Translation. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. Therefore, no one can understand your purpose. By your mercy, you are touching me, although this is not sanctioned by the Vedas, says Ramananda Raya, says to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, purport. A sannyasi is strictly forbidden to see the Vaishyas, the materialistic people, but Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, out of his boundless and causeless mercy, could show favor to anyone, regardless of birth and position. Yes, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a pure devotee, and at the same time he is actually incarnation of the Lord Himself. So we should just try to follow him, no? And exactly like he's doing. Show favor to anyone. It is written here. So, the God Himself, incarnation of God Himself, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and at the same time, a pure devotee of the Lord, what He's doing? showing favor to anyone. So let's follow him and not putting the people in some castes without asking them, but from birth. This is nothing. This has nothing to do with the idea of God, and it is said here. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could show favor to anyone. Exactly, this is what we should also actually, regardless of birth and position, could show favor to everyone, shows favor to everyone regardless of birth and position. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is doing this. So we should actually follow this thing and not put the persons in castes without asking them. So the next verse, let us see. Okay. Madhulila 8:38.
Amani starite tomaradam agahamana paramadayalotum patita pavana.
Translation. You have come here specifically to deliver me. You are so merciful that you alone can deliver all fallen souls. Purport. Srila Narottama Das Thakur sings in his Prarthana 39, verse 39 maybe.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Karo More Toma Vina Kedoyalo Jagata Samsara Patita Pavana Hetu Tavavatara Mosama Patita Rapuna Paivara.
Translation. My dear Lord, please be merciful to me. Who can be more merciful than your Lordship within these three worlds? You appear as an incarnation. You appear as an incarnation just to reclaim the conditioned fallen souls, but I assure you that you will not find a soul more fallen than me. So this is the way how a pure devotee is thinking. You will not find a soul more fallen than me. This is the way how a pure devotee thinks. Yes. So I continue to read the purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's specific mission is to deliver fallen souls. Of course, in this age of Kali, there is hardly anyone who is not fallen, according to the calculations of Vedic behavior. In his instructions to Rupa Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu described the so-called followers of Vedic religion in this way. Madhya Lila 19:146.
Vedanishtamadhyardeka Vedamukhiman Vedanishidapapakara Dharmanahigane.
Translation. So-called followers of Vedic principles simply accept the Vedas formally. Exactly. Accept the Vedas formally. Put people in castes without ask the people. Exactly how it is said here. They simply accept the Vedas formally, but they act against Vedic principles. Yes, exactly. This is symptomatic of this age of Kali. Yes, exactly. We are put in the position of Shudras without being asked in this system of society where we live at the moment. We are all slaves. We are just put in this position without being asked. We are put in the position of Shudras. This is what is the reality actually. This is symptomatic of this age of Kali is said here. Exactly, yes. So I continue to read this purport. People claim to follow a certain type of religion, saying formally, I am Hindu, I am Muslim, I am Christian, I am this or that. But actually, no one follows the principles enunciated in religious scriptures. So this is, uh, yes, it's really like this. So let's see further what is written in the purport. This is the disease of this age. Therefore, the merciful Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has simply advised us to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Kevalam. The Lord can deliver anyone and everyone, even though one may have fallen from the injunctions of revealed scriptures. This is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's special mercy. Consequently, he is known as Patita Pavana, the deliverer of all fallen souls. So this verse was how it was Hare Nama Hare Nama Rama Nama Kevalam Gatir Anyata. So in this age of Kali, there's no any other um, way to be saved as to chant the to be saved from the um, from the material position where one is accept the chanting of the holiness of the Lord, chanting the holiness of the Lord, chanting the holiness of the Lord. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama Vikram, Kalona Stiva, Nastiva, 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 Gtir Anata. So this verse, yes. So no any other way, no any other way, no any other way to be saved from the material condition than chanting the holy names of the Lord. So let's see the next verse. Madalila 839. 839.
Mahanta Svabhava Hitarite Pamara Nija Kariya Nahi Tabuya Nataragara.
Translation. It is the general practice of all saintly people to deliver the fallen. Therefore, they go to people's houses, although they have no personal business there. Purport. A sannyas is supposed to beg from door to door. He does not beg simply because he is hungry. His real purpose is to enlighten the occupant of every house by preaching Krishna consciousness. A sannyasi does not abandon his superior position and become a beggar just for the sake of begging. Similarly, a person in householder life may be very important, but he may also voluntarily take to the mendicant way of life. Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami were ministers, but they voluntarily accepted the mendicant's life in order to humbly preach Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's message. It is said about them.
Tyaktvaturnamaseshamandala Bhakti Shreni Sadatu Javaputva Dinaganesha Kaukarunaya Kaupinaktashrita.
Although the Goswamis were very aristocratic, on the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they became mendicants just to deliver the fallen souls. One should also consider that those who engage in the missionary activities of the Krishna consciousness movement are under the guidance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They are not actually beggars. Their real business is to deliver fallen souls. Therefore, they may go from door to door just to introduce a book about Krishna consciousness so that people can become enlightened by reading. Formerly, Brahmanas and sannyasis used to beg from door to door. At the present moment, especially in the Western countries, a person may be handed a person may be handed over to the police if he begs from door to door. In Western countries, begging is considered criminal. Members of the Krishna consciousness movement have no business begging. Instead, they work very hard to introduce some literatures about Krishna consciousness so that people can read them and be benefited. But if one gives some contribution to Krishna conscious man, he never refuses it. So, next verse, Madhya Lila 8:40.
Mahadvichalanam Rimam Krindam Dinachetasa Hishraya Shaya Bhagavan Nanyata Karpatikvachit.
Translation. My dear Lord, sometimes great saintly persons go to the homes of householders, although these householders are generally low minded. When a saintly person visits their homes, one can understand that it is for no other purpose than to benefit the householders. Purport. This verse is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:8-4. Okay, so let's see what the purport is there. Okay, 10:8-4. Yes, this is the same verse, and there is a purport. There is a purport in Srimad Bhagavatam on that verse. Purport. As factually stated by Nanda Maharaja, Garga Muni, being a devotee, had no needs. Similarly, when Krishna comes, he has no needs for his Purna Atmarama. Nonetheless, he descends to this material world to protect the devotees and vanquish miscreants. Piratranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha duskritam. This is also from Bhagavad Gita. We had to learn this verse in Bhakti Shastri course. This is the mission of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and devotees also have the same mission. One who executes this mission of para upakara, performing welfare activities for people in general, is recognized by Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as being very, very dear to him. Начаса тасман манушешо качинме прия критаман. Tama. Kritama. Titamaha. Kritamaha. Similarly, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has advised this para upakara performing welfare activities for people in general. And he has especially advised the inhabitants of India.
Bharat Bhumi te Manusha Dhamma Yama Sarta Kakari Kara Para Upakara.
Translation. One who has taken his birth as a human being in the land of India, Bharatavarsha, should make his life successful and work for the benefit of all other people. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila 9:41. On the whole, the duty of a pure Vaishnava devotee is to act for the welfare of others. Nanda Maharaj could understand that Garga Muni had come for this purpose, and that his own duty now was to act according to Garga Muni's advice. Thus he said, "Please tell me what is my duty." This should be the attitude of everyone, especially the householder. The Varnashrama society is organized into 8 divisions: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprashta, and Sannyasa. So some of them are ashrama, some of them are the ashramas are the Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprashta, and Sannyasa, and the Varna are the society divisions are Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. So together Varna ashrama, and he says all of them together. Okay, so Nanda Maharaj represented himself as Garhinam, a householder, Grihastha. A brahmachari factually has no needs, but grihis, householders, grihastas, are engaged in sense gratification, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 2:44. Bhogaishvarya prashaktanam tayaparta chetasam. Everyone has come to this material world for sense gratification, and the position of those who are too attached to sense gratification and who therefore accept the grihastha ashrama is very precarious. Since everyone in this material world is searching for sense gratification, grihasthas are required to be trained as great Mahatmas. Therefore, Nanda Maharaj specifically used the word Mahad Vichalanam. Gargamuni had no interest to serve by going to Nanda Maharaj, but Nanda Maharaj, as a Grihastha, was always perfectly ready to receive instructions from Mahatma to gain the real benefit in life. Thus, he was ready to execute Gargamuni's order. So this is, of course, not exactly connected with the um, with the conversation between Ramananda Raya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is something else here. Just a moment. So, the next verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita about the conversation between Ramananda Raya and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is verse Madhya 841.
Amara Sange Brahmandati Sahasrika तुम्हारा दर्शन सब द्रवीभूत हमारा.
Translation. Along with me, there are about 1,000 men, including the Brahmanas, and all of them appear to have had their hearts melted simply by seeing you. Madhya 842, the next one.
Krishna Krishna Namashu Sabarvada Sabaranga Pulakita Ashranayane.
Translation. I hear everyone chanting the holy name of Krishna. Everyone's body is thrilled with ecstasy, and there are tears in everyone's eyes. Next is Madhya 843.
आकृते प्रकृते तुम्हारा ईश्वर लक्षण जीवेन संभवे प्रकृत गुण.
Translation. My dear sir, according to your behavior and bodily features, you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is impossible for ordinary living beings to possess such transcendental qualities. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's bodily features were uncommon. Indeed, his body was extraordinary in its measurements. The measurements of his chest and the measurements of his forearms were the same. This is called Nyagroda Parimandala. As far as his nature is concerned, he was kind to everyone. No one but the Supreme Personality of Godhead can be kind to everyone. Therefore, the Lord's name is Krishna, all attractive. Stated in the Bhagavad Gita 14:4. Krishna is the kind of father of everyone in every species of life. Sarva Yonishu. He is the original father, the seed giver. Bija Pradapita. How then can he be unkind to any living entity? One may be a man, or animal, a tree, but the Lord is kind to everyone. That is God's qualification. He also says in Bhagavad Gita 9:29, Samoham sarva bhuteshu. I am equally kind to everyone. And he advises Sarvadharman parityaya mam ekam sharanam vraja. Give up all other engagements and simply surrender unto me. This instruction is meant not only for Arjuna, but for all living entities. Whoever takes advantage of this offer is immediately immune to all sinful activity and returns home, back to Godhead. While present on this planet, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu made the same offer. So, not only to Arjuna, but also actually even all the soldiers there, all the soldiers who were in the battle of Kurukshetra, they were all listening to the instructions of Lord Krishna to Arjuna. So these instructions were actually really for everyone. So and um, also through Sanjaya, the king could also hear what Krishna was saying to Arjuna. So in this way, and then through Bhagavad Gita, we also can hear what Krishna has said to Arjuna. So in this way, these instructions are for everyone, but they are for everyone in the conditions of battle, because we are not always in this condition. Of course, there are also other conditions. But actually, the instructions of Lord Krishna are not only for Arjuna, but for everyone, really. This is clear. So I will continue with the next verse the next time. So the next verse will be the Madhya Lila 8:44. So we see how wonderful is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and how wonderful His Divine Grace Abhayacharana Ravrinda Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada described in the purport which we heard just for some minutes ago, how the Lord is actually the Father of everyone, and He loves actually everyone, every living entity. So I will try to glorify the Lord with a song. The song Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Lord Krishna came from above to make us happy, to give us love. Lord Krishna came from above
to make us happy, to give us love.
Krishna lives in everyone's heart. Krishna sings in everyone's life. Krishna sings, lives in everyone's heart. Krishna sings in everyone's life. Krishna lives in everyone's heart. Krishna sings in everyone's life.
In Krishna's heart, out of love, Radha is singing.
Out of love, Radha is singing his most beloved. In Krishna's heart,
Out of love, Radha is singing. Out of love, Radha is singing. His most beloved. Here the holy name is dancing. Oh, be joyful on your tongue. Here the holy name is dancing. Oh, be joyful on your tongue.
see Radha and Krishna living in your heart forever long. See Radha and Krishna living in your heart forever long. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Lord Krishna came from above to make us happy, to give us love. Lord Krishna came from above to make us happy, to give us love. Krishna lives
in everyone's heart. Krishna sings in everyone's life. Krishna lives in everyone's heart. Krishna sings in everyone's life.
in Krishna's own heart. Out of love, Radha is singing. Radha is singing. His most beloved. In Krishna's heart, out of love, Radha is singing. His most beloved, out of love, his most beloved, Radha. In Krishna's heart, out of love, Radha is singing. Radha is singing. His most beloved. Here the holy name is dancing. Oh, we joyful on your tongue. Here The holy name is dancing, always joyful on your tongue.
Sing Radha and Krishna living in your heart forever long. Sing Radha and Krishna living in your heart forever long.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Dina Jewel ist, wie du dich vorgestellt. Die neue Zeit ist Liebe, Liebe ohne Strahl. Lass uns in Frieden leben.
Lass uns einander lieben.
Lass uns in Frieden leben.
Lass uns einander lieben.
Lord Krishna came from above
To make us happy, to give us love.
Krishna lives in
Everyone's heart. Krishna sings in everyone's life. In Krishna's
heart.
Radha is singing.
Out of love, Radha is singing his most beloved. Here the holy name is dancing,
Always joyful on your tongue.
here the holy name is dancing, oh joyful on your tongue. See Radha and Krishna living in your heart forever long. See Radha and Krishna living in your heart forever long.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So I will come to an end now. I will then sorry. I will then write a comment the text of that song. So as you all know, I am not qualified on such topics like Vedic literature. So if I say something on Vedic literature in such moments, in such mm, in such uh, when it happens that I say something on Vedic literature, you should know I'm not trying to instruct anybody. I'm not trying to instruct anybody. I'm just trying to understand these topics. Of course, one have to try to understand the Vedic literature under the guidance of teachers, under the guidance of Diksha Guru and Shiksha Gurus. All of you who are Vaishnavas in Raghunuga Bhakti, in Rupanuga Bhakti, uh, all of you, you are my Shiksha Gurus. I pay obeisance to you. Dandavat Pranam. Vancha Kalpatarupascha, Kripasnukupevcha, Patitnam Pavanebu Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Now I will try to sing also the Nrsimha Pranam. Just a moment. Shri Nrsimha Stuti. Yes. Namaste Narasimhaya Praladela Dahine Hiranyakashi Purvaksa Shilatankanakalaye Iton Rishiho Paraton Rishiho Yato yato mitato drishiho bahinishiho hridaya drishiho drishim amadim sharanya prapadya Namaste Narasimhaya Praladadadadine Hiranyakashipu Raksha Shiladankanakalaye Iton Rishiho Paraton Rishiho Yato 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 Rishiho Bahirishiho Hridaya Rishiho Drishim Hamadim Sharanya Prapadya Tavakara Kamalavare Nakama Puta Shrinka Talita Hiranyakashipu Tano Bringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jagadisha Hare Shri Nishimha Jadri Shimha Jaya Jadri Shimha De Prahlodesha Jaya Bhakta Mukha Padma Bring Shri Nishimha Jadri Shimha Jaya Jadri Shimha De Prahlodesha Jaya Bhakta Mukha Padma Bring Shri Nishimha Jadri Shimha Jaya Jadri Shimha De Prahlodesha Jaya Bhakta Mukha Padma Bring Shri Simha Janri Simha Jaya Janri Simha Dev Prahlodesha Jaya Bhakta Mukha Padma Bringa Jaya Nrisimha Dev Nrisimha Dev Nrisimha Dev Nrisimhadev,
Nrisimhadev,
Jan Nrisimhadev, Jan Nrisimhadev, Jan Nrisimhadev.
Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Nrisimha, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Nrisimha, Prahlad Lakshmi Nrisimha, 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 Lakshmi Nrisimha. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva Subhadra, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra, Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Shri Shri Gaur Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai, Jaya Gora Nitai. Radha Madhava Radha Gopinath Radha Shyam Radha Gokula Nanda Radha Gopinath Radha Madhava Radha Gokula Nanda Radha Madhava Radha Gopinatha Radha Gokula Nanda Radha Shyama Radha Shyama Radha Madhava Radha Gokula Nanda Jaya Shri Radha 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 Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe, Jaya Shri Radhe. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Jaya Guru Maharaj, Jaya Guru Maharaj, Jaya Guru Maharaj, Jaya Guru Maharaj, Jaya Guru Maharaj. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada.
So we heard from the purport of His Divine Grace Abhayacharana Srila Abhayacharana Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, how a great is actually God, and God is actually Father of everyone and every living entity, and He loves everyone. And That's why also in verse 5 of Shastaka, for example, the pure devotees, how they pray to the Lord, we can see, because in every verse of Shastaka, they describe how a pure devotee is crying for the Lord. A pure devotee is um, crying in separation from the Lord. So in verse 5 it is said, Ainanatanochki Karampatitamam Visham Bhavam Budo Kripayatava Pada Pankaja Saduristacham Vichintaya. Ananatanochki Karampatitamam Visham Bhavam Budo Kripayatava Pada Pankaja Saduristacham Vichintaya. Ainanatanochki Karampatitamam Visham Bhavam Budo Tava Крипая Pankaja. Крипая Pada Pankaja. Значи, Ainanatanochki Karampatitamam Visham Bhavam Budo Бавам Будо. Анатончки крам патитам Айнатончки крам патитамам Вишам Бавам Будо. Кипайтава Pada Pankaja Sadrisham Vichintaya. O Lord, O son of Maharjananda, O son of Maharjananda. Somehow I am in this material, in this position, in this terrible position in this world. O Lord, but please be merciful to me and consider me as a particle of dust or a particle of sand, affixed at your lotus feet, and in this way purchase me as your eternal servant. So, thank you so much for your attention. Hare Krishna.